Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cyclone. Time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. Things are getting a little stormy as we move from part 1, which was a nice clear day. It's going to be a little stormy now on a Newcastle Class 802, Newcastle bound Class 802 between Manchester, Victoria, and Leeds. And of course, we have another clear day when we get to the DP simulation line. But for right now, we are dealing with a storm. In other words, a beautiful day in England. Let's go. Hello, driver. Prepare the train and open the doors for passengers to board. Take this Newcastle-bound service up to Leeds. Long press M key, we'll talk about that in a second, to change to diesel mode. You will overtake a delayed Hull-bound service at Huddersfield, so expect some adverse signals along the way. Copy that. And we're going to go ahead and unpause. We're going to bring up the HUD. We're going to go ahead and hit T to unlock the door. And we're going to go ahead and check the train again. First thing we have to do is check our destinations. So you're going to notice you're not going to notice anything right now, but I am holding down the F8 key, and we'll check that in a second. I'm thinking about things I have to do. Let's turn off the driver reminder appliance. We're going to put... Oh, actually, that destinations aren't working yet because I have to put the Shift W in to set the reverser. Turn off the fault. Do that. Actually, that second one didn't happen yet, did it? There it is. And now we're going to be able to check the destinations, but it's not going to show you anything inside the cab, which is hilarious. So let's look on the... oh, that's not it. We're going to look at regular 2, not F2. That's a good step to follow. There is not what I want. That's first class. This is... Oh, we're going to Motherwell now. There you go. That's not far away. Newark, Northgate, Newcastle. I almost had that perfect by chance. Very nice. Headlights. Let's make sure the headlights are on. Hello. Okay. Sure, that works. We'll take that. So everything else is already set. Well, I don't think there's anything else for me to do. Oh, we need to check the mode of traction. So we're going to pop back outside the cab here. We're going to go ahead and watch this thing as I go ahead and hold down the... I'm actually going to hide the HUD for you on this. I'm going to hold down the M key. We're going to see what happens here. Brilliant. All right, that's that. So we're going to go ahead and watch the train for a moment. We'll take a look at the train, rather, for a moment. We're going to watch another train come in that we're waiting for before we're allowed to leave. So let's do that. Leaving Manchester, Victoria. Wipers are going on. Our first stop is Huddersfield. We're leaving next to train number 2J23, a 723 service from Clitheroe to Rothdale. That should have a T in it, Rothdale. And that is the train that we are going to also be catching up to because we're going to be going faster than it temporarily. But then it will eventually have a final overtake to continue along that path as we pass the area of Miles Plating Station. No longer in operation or even existing. So we're now passing that train. We're going to be getting slowed down to a 30 for the junction. When that happens, the train might overtake us again. Oh, notice the other train over there, too. That is a, was that 2W05 I saw there on that? Might have been. Okay, let's see if I can get a little more speed on here before I have to slow down for the 30. You can see there are two numbers on the speed thing up ahead, so it looks like I haven't changed the setting on the route to make these things appear normally, where there's multiple speed signs present. That is a 60. It's a 60 mile per hour section. I'll go ahead and I'll let the speed slow down now. In fact, I'm going to put a little brake on just to be safe. There we go. So we got down to the 30 in time. That train heading for Rothdale is still back there, it looks like. So this is the area of Miles Playing Station. It covered both lines. I almost sped. So Miles Playing Station covered both lines. It no longer exists. Had a nice station building when it did exist, from what I can see. It's a shame. It was a nice junction station, but I guess it was seen as not needed anymore. It must not have been profitable. And now the 60 has cleared itself, so you can see clearly that it is a 60 now. And I almost sped up too early, but now we're going to go ahead and get ourselves up all the way to 60. Full power at this time. We're going to be continuing all the way up to 70 because we're not going to hit 60 by the time we're in the 70. And the 75, we may be at 70 before we reach 75. I don't know. We will find out. We will see what happens. No, it looks like I won't be at 70 by the time we hit the 75. So that's actually going to give me something to aim for here. 75 is now what I'm aiming for. Now, somewhere in here, we're going to be passing the Park Station remains, the disused platform. We might have already passed it. Well, here's a CCTV, so I think it was right after that. Nice sound of the wiper there. Yeah, I think maybe Park Station was right before that line that was crossing in as I called it out. So I might have just missed it when I called it out. I have not been seeing it here. So if we see a live station, which is Ashton-under-Lyne, then I definitely did miss Park Station. At the same time, if I see Park Station now, I'm going to start thinking I'm not managing time properly, but I don't know what else I can do here. No, that's 60 coming up. We are coming up on Ashton-under-Lyne. I think it slows down further as we get to Stalybridge. Yeah, there's that slowdown I expected. There's a 35 up ahead there. That might be for Stalybridge. Of course, another 50 right after that. But for right now, we need to slow down to 60 coming up. You notice I have taken the throttle off and I am coasting at this time. Gonna put a little bit of a brake on now. This is Ashton-under-Lyne. I think this is the Catherine Tunnel, if I remember correctly. We're getting an alert to not the 60 that we're now going into, but to the 35. So for that reason, we're now going to continue to slow down. So brakes are on. We are otherwise getting green signals. Going to put a little bit of a heavier brake on for a moment because I think we're going to need it. And I lied. We're actually slowing down too much now. So holding at 40 for a moment longer as we get down to 35 in a moment. There we go. 35 miles per hour. You notice the sign also showed a 25. That's for the junction as you cross over to that platform right there, that line connecting them. That's the 25 line. That was an interesting set of diesel noises. Coming up to the 50 right now. There is a 65 further up as well. We are going to pass through Stalybridge. Another train over there. It sounds like it's running, so I didn't get to see what the header on that one was. And I don't feel like going back to find it, so you're on your own. We continue to have the green signal up ahead. There is a red on the other line. So something I do remember reading about the Stalybridge station, the middle line is a bi-directional line. The end lines each go in one direction for a specific route. The reason the middle line is bi-directional is so that both lines can be served by both routes. So, for example, on the line that we're on, the line that we were taking is the line towards not Manchester, to Leeds. But if trains going towards Manchester Victoria would come in on the middle line, and that would be the correct line for Manchester Victoria, they would not use the end station where the other train was. That means that's a train that was coming to, most likely going to Manchester Piccadilly, that particular train. And if we were coming on that line from Guide Bridge, we would be on the middle line because then we would be coming on the direction of Leeds on the middle line. So you may be noticing that service is heading to Leeds from Manchester Piccadilly and to Manchester Victoria from Leeds. They're not able to maintain, they have to use the same track, so they can't both be in the same area at the same time unless there is a situation where one's late and one has to cross over. But I don't know if the signals even give directions for both ways on those lines. I'm not sure. Either way, I know the middle track does, and that is the reason, because it serves two different routes, whereas the end lines are each for their designated route. So that's why there are 3 platforms at Stalybridge, and it makes perfect sense to me. So, getting up now to 65 miles per hour at 57. Going to be looking for Mossley up ahead. Oop, don't speed. I think there are some works being done in this part of the line to increase the... I think they're doing something with electric on this line, if I remember correctly. So I think they are trying to run the electric through this line, or they may have already done so in real life now. At least at the time of this route, it wasn't there yet. I did see a Don Coffey video where he talked about this, driving on this line. So look that up. And he talks more about that project where they're doing work on this line. He talks more about that. Or rather, he types it because he doesn't use his voice. He uses scrolling text. There you go. 63.8 miles per hour is our current speed. Whistle board. Now, you're going to notice this crossing has been added. You see that? That crossing was missing on the original planning. And if you go back to the original version of the route, and if you go back to my original videos on this route, you will see that crossing is not there. That was added at some point after it was pointed out, and I believe I'm the one who pointed that out. Not that I try to take credit for things, but I pointed that out, and when I first mentioned it to someone, the response I got back was, "There's no crossing there." Well, why are there whistle boards there? There has to be a crossing there. So I showed the exact spot, and they found it, and they put it in. I guess there was some grass growing on it in the pictures they had, and that's why they didn't see it. So it's not a very heavily used crossing, I guess, today. That's what I'm getting out of that. It's like a footpath crossing or something. But it's in there now, and that's the important part. This, I believe, was Greenfield. .65 remains our speed limit. Somewhere in the area up here, we passed the site of Saddleworth Station, which is no longer there. Look at all those up ahead. Now, that 15 you might remember. That 15 is fraudulent. We're not going to pay attention to that 15. We don't have to respond to that one. But we are going to get ourselves down to 60. That is correct. 60 is definitely correct. That building is very close to the line. That might be the old Saddleworth Station, actually. What I can tell you is that 60 is around the point where Diggle Junction is located. I know there's a siding that's going to branch off somewhere. We're not taking that siding, and even if we did, it's a 25. So it's not shown with a sign because in real life there's no sign there either. Drivers are expected to know to go 25 by the time they get there. So I'm well under 60 now. I have been making up good time. I'm now ahead of my expected arrival time. I better bring my speed back up to 60 though, because we are going to be moving up to 85 momentarily. So we have, and that line to the left is now at 25 line that I was mentioning. So that line is there now. We're ignoring this 15 because it is fake. I should not be penalized for it. There it is. We're now in the tunnel. And up to 85 we go. This is Stand Edge Tunnel, by the way, if you want the name of the tunnel. Stand Edge Tunnel. It's 3 parallel tunnels apparently 2 single line, 1 double. 5,340 yards in width, or for you people like myself who are not imperialists, 4,806 meters. Outside the tunnel, the first station we're going to come to is Marsden. I don't remember how close it is. I want to say it's with about a mile, maybe, from the tunnel. You saw everything disappear for a second there. I think that was a shadow somehow. I don't know how a shadow got that. It happened again. So something in the tunnel coating makes it a shadow on the 802 train, which I'm sure on other trains as well, but causes the 802 panels to disappear for a moment. Very, very interesting. Okay, I almost sped, but I caught myself, and I almost didn't respond to that because my hand was off the keyboard. But we got it in time. We're going to be dropping, looks like, to a 45. I'm just getting a warning for that right now as well. Also for the yellow, we were told to expect adverse signals. Here are the adverse signals. So I'm definitely going to get this down to 45. Everything blipped out again. Because we're under a yellow signal, I'm going to go ahead and slow down a little further just to be safe. We only have 7 miles to go, so getting back up to speed should not be too much of an issue. We have 13 minutes to do it. I'm going to stay at 30 for the time being, until I see what is going on up ahead with a signal. I don't see any signal yet, so I'm a little concerned. I'm slowing it down a little further. That's a yellow signal. I see it now. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves up to... the next signal is very, very close. That might be a double yellow. If that is a single yellow, I have to really keep the brakes on right now because that signal is close. No, that is a... No, it is a single yellow. Okay. So we have to stop at the signal about 3/10 of a mile away unless something changes by the time we get there. I'm down roughly around 20 right now. 21. Take a little more speed off because we're getting a little close here. That looks like a potential red signal. Or is that on a different track? Nope, it is a red signal. We have a red signal on our track as well. So that is now very, very clearly visible. We must come to a stop at this signal. This is, of course, Marsden Station. You should be able to read Marsden in the sign there. We just turned yellow, so we are good to go at this point. We, again, can't go too fast because we know the train ahead just cleared the signal block. We know for a fact, because we were briefed on it, that we are following another train. Here's a train. That was heading to Manchester Piccadilly, the 2M64 from Huddersfield. So this is a long signal block, which is why I feel like going up to at least 40. I don't know how high I'm going to take this. But we have to keep in mind the next signal is currently red. Or I should say maybe currently red. So I'm putting a little bit of brakes on again now that I got close to 50. Putting some brakes back on. We're going to go ahead and lower our speed again because we are on a curve. And curves are a dangerous place to guess if a signal is red or yellow. Curves are a dangerous place for that game. Very, very likely it's bad. You would think they would put the signal at the start of the curve, but no. I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it? That's a red signal. That is definitely a red signal. Right now we want to make sure we can stop on command if we have to, and, well, we have to. Green. Off we go. Get back up to speed. We now can go 2 signal blocks. So that tells me that the signal block we're in right now did not have, that signal did not have a yellow available on it, most likely, which means that we now can go until at full speed until we see our next yellow. When we see yellow, we're going to have to slow down again. But right now we can go at line speed. We are under 7 miles to go. In fact, we might be down under 6 at this point. Yeah, it's under 6. Under 6 miles to go. At 60 miles per hour, that would mean we would be at Huddersfield at 9:15. So I imagine we're going to probably be clear from this point onwards. That was a long signal block we just had to wait for. And we're overtaking that train at Huddersfield. We're going to be passing a station known by the locals as Slowett. It looks like Slaithwaite, but they call it Slowett. There is a red, or not, I shouldn't say red. There is a signal up ahead, about 1.5 miles away. We have no knowledge of what that signal's status is right now. It may be green, it may be yellow, it may still be red if there's another intermediary signal. But I would have to see that intermediary signal first. There is Slowett. Here's our half of Slowett. We have a yellow. So the signal is indeed red. Since we're going by at 82 miles per hour, we have to jam on the brakes right now. This is a heavy, heavy brake. Needless to say, not something I like to see when you're going at high speed. Because you never know what the next signal is going to be. All we know is that right now it's red. I'm going to stay at 40 for a minute. We have enough speed to continue for the time being. We are now 3 3/4 miles away. Nice little look over the hill here from the other side. There's your view. Looks like a hotel over there, doesn't it? It does look like a hotel over there. I did not want to do that. Fault alarm trip. I literally did just trip the fault alarm. I set an emergency brake. Whoopsie. I think I went down too much on the brake, guys. A little too much on the brakes. Well. This guy's wondering why we stopped. That was service 1P62. We can get back up to 40 in a hurry, but I don't think we're going to have any more issues with signals at this point because that was a green signal that we emergency broke for. And the emergency brake was activated because I put the brake to 100% without intending to. Held it down just a little too long. And when I went to increase it, I already had it at 100%. So there you go. It happens. There is a good chance we'll still be on time, but I'm going to have to get myself up to 85 in a hurry because that was not the time to have a random emergency brake happen. That was not the time. We are going to have, I believe that's a 70 and then a 60 up ahead. So we are going to get up to fast speed for now. We are under 3 miles to go. I know we're going to have a 35 and possibly a 20 coming up as well. So Huddersfield platform should be coming up on the HUD in just a moment. We expect a green line now. As a signal about 1.5 miles away, we're about a mile between that and Huddersfield. So there is another signal before Huddersfield. That's 1.7 miles away. We got another 0.3 of a mile to the end of the platform. So green line about now. I need to bring the brakes on. Hopefully not an emergency brake. Brilliant. And now we're going to do a heavier brake to get the 60. A little bit of lag there. We're on a bit of a downhill, so we have to keep this in mind as we slow down. If we let the brakes off and try to coast because we're already at the speed, we could end up speeding anyway. There's our warning for the 35. That was what the indicator was for. It was not for the signal, which is green. We have 2 minutes to make our stop. At this point, we should be on time. We're coming up on Springwood Tunnel here. Actually, this could be the tunnel we're in. Yeah, that's the trains coming from Penistone are going to be joining us here. So that was probably the Springwood Tunnel. I know I covered these on a previous video exactly which tunnel was which. I just don't have that in front of me today, so forgive me. I'm not going to be hunting it down either. I don't have the time. I've just been busy this week. Sorry, guys. We're heading via platform 8. We are definitely going down to 25, and I assume to 20 as well. So we're going to hit those brakes heavy again. We did get down to 20 in time, but 25 is our speed limit. 20 is on the platform. So we're just going to coast in at 20 and not think about it. There's a couple trains waiting here with us. One is the one we're overtaking. So we're going to go ahead and screech to a halt up here. We are going to be fully in the platform by the time we stop, so we are going to go ahead and stop right there, and that will do the job. Arrival at Huddersfield, platform number 8. Leaving Huddersfield. That signal to the right amuses me. That was a shunt signal given to a terminus platform with no train on it. We're going to Dewsbury. That's our next stop. So we are going to see several stations on the line before we actually get to our target station of Dewsbury. We're going to see... I'll try to name them... Pardon me. I'll try to name them out as we pass them. .70 miles per hour is now our speed limit. We have 10 minutes to get to... Well, 8 minutes now to get to Dewsbury. It is doable because it's 7.5 miles. Another train going by. So for those who are familiar with the pack, you may know that the Luma is also part of this pack. That's the Class 803. I have seen some commentary on the first run of that train on the East Coast Main Line. I believe that train ran from London King's Cross. Ooh, whoopsie, I thought I brought that down. That train ran from London King's Cross to... Actually, no, did it go to London King's Cross? I think it started at Edinburgh. That might have been Newcastle. I know it stopped at Morpeth, and I don't know why I remember that one. But, yeah, I think it was Edinburgh to Morpeth to Newcastle. Eventually, a stop for Stevenage would have been added. I feel like I'm missing something in the middle of that, though. I'm sure I missed something. But it did go to London King's Cross. So it was a limited stop service, an express service. And I think that's the only service the 803s currently run. I could be mistaken. But because of that, I'm going to see if I can get an East Coast mainline service with the Class 803 at some point. I also have other DLC I need to show off on that route. Heck, I still need to show you the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway with some steam engines. That still needs to be done as well. This line is busy today, guys. This is a busy railway line. 70 remains our speed limit. I'm trying to get my throttle to stay where I want it. So I think we're going to be cutting to a 60. That's another case of... So when we have a case of... we're going to just treat it as a 60 until we're told otherwise. But I think there is one represented by a 55 and a 45 further ahead as well. And I've not been calling out stations, so if I missed one, sorry guys. Oh, too slow, too slow. Speed up a little bit, please. So my was right at 60 miles per hour, so we got that part correct, and I just hit a new 75 as I thought I was about to speed. I hit a new 75, so we can continue. Let's take a quick peek at the map, confirm where we are, since I have been not following very clearly. We are coming up to our next station. As you can see, that is Murfield coming up. So I didn't call out Dayton or the location of Bradley Station. But Dayton is the only one we missed. So here is Murfield. We're going to eventually come up to Ravensthorpe. That's where the line to Wakefield Westgate will be splitting off. We're going to see Ravensthorpe very, very early on our part of the line while the other line branches off. So keep an eye out for the line to Wakefield Westgate to branch off up ahead here. And that is where we're going to see the station, which was named after Ravensthorpe and Thornhill. We'll be passing Dewsbury Junction on the way to that station. That's the junction that branches off Wakefield Westgate. That probably is to tell us that we are taking the junction going away from Wakefield Westgate. So ours is, I believe, the junction line that branches off towards Leeds. Well, actually to somewhere else, but eventually curves back towards Leeds. Wakefield Westgate actually, I guess it takes a different route to get to Leeds too. So I guess ours is the way to Leeds. Leeds is probably the branch. We do have a 40 coming up here as well. We must keep that in mind. Dewsbury mandates slow speed limits, and we have to stop anyway. I responded to that alarm before I needed to, you might have noticed. I have 2 minutes to make this stop, so I'm doing okay here. Let's just keep the speed at 60 something for now. 40 is a junction track. That's why we have a slow speed there, by the way. We are going to be going back up to 75, as you can see. I'm now close enough that I am going to go ahead and start bringing the speed down. We should be getting another alert, shouldn't we? There it is. So it's telling us we're going left. We're taking a track left. It has a yellow signal, so the next signal could be red. Who cares? We're stopping anyway. We'll find out if it's red while we're there. So at this pace, we could go about half a mile a minute. We have less than that to go. So we are definitely in good position for our stop right now. In fact, I'm going to speed up a little bit as we get closer so I can hit the brakes a little earlier. Okay, let's start hitting the brakes now. There's our junction left, as you can see. I'm using a minimal brake application, so we're going to go ahead and just cruise on the platform on that minimal application. We're going to come to a full stop as we get near the end of the platform. I have a rough judgment where I want to do that, but I might be coming in too slowly now, so I'm going to ease the brakes off. I'm going to start braking again. Now I'll do a full brake and back off. Hey, another 802. We've arrived at Dewsbury, platform number 1. Leaving Dewsbury, our next stop is Leeds, and we don't care when we arrive now. It is a passenger exchange, but we don't care when we get there. There's no time limit on this one. However, our estimated arrival is about 8:40 at this time. So it looks like about another 12.5 minutes of driving, give or take, for speeds. We should be passing the Staincliffe and Batley carriage sidings, I believe, is what we have coming up here. I'm not sure exactly how those are designated in the game. Either way, the next station we're going to be seeing is Batley Station, which will be followed by Morley. Working our way up to the 75 miles per hour, which is our speed limit. I expect all signals will be green at this point. I don't see any reason to believe otherwise. This is Batley. And I think the tunnel that we're going to be seeing, the really long tunnel up here, is also called Morley. So I think it's Morley Station after the Morley Tunnel. You can see a signal box there. And since we don't have any specific time limit, I'm just going to go ahead and coast a few miles away from the speed limit. We're going to have to slow down for Morley anyway. This is the tunnel, Morley Tunnel, I believe. As we go deep underground. Are you afraid of the dark? So as I've already said, when we emerge from this tunnel, we will be in Morley. Or Morley Station. The tunnel is building itself on ahead of me here, which is interesting. And we seem to have shadows on everything in the cab again, which is interesting. And I'm speeding, which is interesting. Well, I was having a good run. We are going to be getting down to a 55 up ahead here, so that is of importance here to my run. Got down in time. I didn't think I was going to for a second. I don't remember if this is a 45 or 65. I think it's 65. We'll know in a moment. That was a Morley Station. It is a 65 because I'm not being charged for speeding. There's a 65. We have a 75 after that. Now, the next station, I need to make a point of letting you know something here because we are getting close. This is kind of why I want to do this now. We're getting close to the new timetable. And I'm going to show you on the map here as we come along. The next station up here is Cottingley, right here. It's the last station before we get to Leeds up there. But there's going to be a new station opening up in about, not very long from now, in about a week or so on the new timetable. Right in this area is going to be the White Rose Station. It will be opening up in that area. And it will be causing Cottingley Station to close. This is my understanding based on what I've recently read. That change is probably going to take place on the next timetable because I think they expect White Rose to be ready at that time for passengers. It's not a major station, just an outdoor station, so probably doesn't take too much, but they did have to do the construction for the platforms and all that. So the platforms, I imagine, are probably ready by now. We don't see platforms because in the era we're in, that station does not exist. So we're going to always have Cottingley available to us. Yay! For those of you playing in Train Sim World, by the way, Cottingley Station does not exist, nor does White Rose Station. There's no station in this area in Train Sim World. So Morley is the last station in that game before, and this station does not exist. This is Cottingley. I thought I took the speed off. Why did it not register? Okay, so I was speeding again. So now we're coming upon a confluence of lines all merging in all at once here. And we're going to be coming into Leeds on line, I want to say line E, could be line F. I think line E for coming in. A and B typically serve the Bradford Forrester Square station. And C and D typically go in a different direction on a different line. I don't know which one because there's two different lines that might manage both of those lines. I know one of them is also served by lines E and F as well. Might be the Doncaster route that uses C and D. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. So there's a 50 coming up. We're going to start slowing down for. You can see Leeds platform up there, by the way. Technically 2 minutes away, but the pace we're going to be slowing down to, it's not 2 minutes away. If we didn't have to slow down, we could be there in a minute and a half. Getting down now to 40 miles per hour. I didn't mean to keep the brakes on yet, but I'll do it because we have to get down to 25 anyway. No, not increase. We're on a bit of a downhill here, so you have to watch our speed in this section. You can notice the train here. That is 1L45 to Lincoln Central. I thought I brought my speed down. What is going on with this today? Come on, train. Work with me. That is a heavy downhill. Yeah, I did remember that it was a heavy downhill. I just didn't realize it was that heavy. 1 in 81 is the gradient. Now you can see that we have 6 different lines. So now you can see we are indeed on line E as we come into Leeds. And there's a line coming in. This used to be another line to Wakefield Westgate, I believe. Or actually, that line might still be there. There's a different line that used to branch off going in the other direction for Doncaster, but that now is a different route as well. There is a 15 coming up. I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm down to about 19 right now. Another train over there. I did see some complaints that the end of Leeds on the track A-B side might have a problem with one of the platforms over there not being at the right height. I don't know the details. I'm not from the area. I can't tell you, but I have heard some comments about that. I'm going to accept it for what it is because we're not actually using that line for anything. It doesn't connect to anything that we use, so I'm okay with it. If the line is ever created, then the route here might be updated to show that. But for right now, don't expect it. If the route ever gets made for Train Sim World... Actually, no, it was. So who cares? This train will not fit fully in the station. We cannot go past that red signal, so we're going to have to accept the fact that we are limited in our cars stopping here. We are at 0 from the signal. So yeah, a couple cars aren't going to get their doors open today, it looks like. I can move up just a wee bit more, so I'm going to do that. Just a wee bit. Get the third car on, and that will do. So we're done with that, not risking any more. That's arrival at Leeds. Let's look at our train. So we're going to have quite a skip here, guys. We have to get through from Leeds to York. We're going to be picking up on a new route next time. I know it's kind of funny to say that because we're already familiar with the East Coast Main Line. Turned the wipers off because it's not raining anymore. So even though we're familiar with the East Coast Main Line, this is going to be a new route next time. We are going to look at the DP simulation version of the East Coast Main Line, and it's going to be modernized with some changes to it. I don't know what all the changes are, but we're going to see it when we go there. Welcome to Leeds. Thank you, driver. Hope you had a smooth run. Another driver will take the train to Newcastle. Please feel free to provide your feedback on the Steam Workshop page. Or not. Up to the player. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hope you have a wonderful day, evening, or night, whatever it is for your part of the world. Stay tuned next time for part 3 of this scenario. I'm going to give these their own playlist as well, in addition to being on the route pages for my playlists. So keep an eye out for these next time. I'll see you for that. I'm Cyclone. Again, have a wonderful day, evening, or night. Bye-bye.